Let's power up the way you onboard your new clients. Listen to today's episode to find out what onboarding means and how you can actually onboard your clients manually and automatically with a management system. Hello, you're listening to the Courageous Goals podcast. This podcast is for high-achieving, courageous women who want growth and the know-how to scale their business online. Running a business is a journey and a process. The more we learn in action, the more we succeed. If you're a woman in business, this is the podcast for you. Be in the 5% of businesses that make it. Let's get bold and create the life we desire. I'm bringing my passion to you through advice, coaching, inspiration, and support to help you create and design the life and business you want to live. I am a Dubsado expert, CPD certified in social media platforms, and a lover of admin systems and processes. I am an accredited ICF coach, specialising in trauma and narcissism. My own coaching journey has supported my growth immensely, and I want to share those highlights with you to inspire and give you courage. Let's get intentional with our goals and make them happen. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Courageous Goals podcast. Today I'd like to talk to you about how you power up the way you onboard your clients. So this is for all new clients, those that have decided, yes, I'd love to work with you, Leanne. I enjoyed our discovery call or our clarity call, and I'd love to go ahead. Those are words we love hearing, right? We like taking on new clients, or most of us do anyway. I definitely do. And I actually enjoy the whole beginning process because that's where you really get to know someone in how they work, what language they use, how they are organized in their life day to day, and just really, how you can work together. So I feel it's really important to talk about this topic because when I started out in business years ago, I didn't necessarily have a process in place. I knew I had to send my clients a contract. I knew I sent a questionnaire so that I could find out what they wanted to work with me on in more detail, as well as I knew I had to send an invoice. But to do all of these things, I needed the information from them. So I needed their details because obviously I need a contract with names and addresses and things like that on. I needed to know what they wanted to sign up for, so what their package was. That also went in the contract, and obviously on the invoice. So there's lots of things to consider when you are onboarding your clients. So I guess my question, what does onboarding even mean? I'm hoping that's clarified it a little bit for you, because to onboard your clients, you need a process in place. And a lot of us don't have these processes in place. Now, you might have already seen, you might already have the download. I created a resource for you to download, which is called Your Client Onboarding Processes. That's available free on the website now. Anyone can download it. And this will just give you a chance to really look at how you onboard your clients, what processes you need in place. It also looks at the software you currently use or what software you could use in the future, or even now if you're ready to do that. But it also looks at your packages. And I bring the packages up because, again, years ago when I started out, I had an idea of my packages and what they included. However, when I knew I wanted to work with certain clients, I'm such a people pleaser that I changed my packages so that I could adapt to what they needed. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean the price. That means what I offered. So I tried to create packages because I was a VA right at the beginning, and I tried to create packages so that I had a 10-hour package available, a 20-hour package available, a 40-hour package available, and so on. But I did find some clients were like, actually, I might only need about 12, 14 hours, or I might need about 22 hours. And so that kind of got really messy, although I allowed it at the time. now, now obviously I don't do VA work. However, I wouldn't adjust my packages in that way now. I would actually structure it in a more reasonable way for everybody moving forward, just because it's easier to have your packages outlined so that you know how to onboard your clients. Now, I really want to get more in depth about how you onboard your clients. So usually most people will have a clarity call or a discovery call, it's usually known as, and this is where you have that first initial call, you find out about the person and what they need. Sometimes people say, they'll sign up there and then. Some people will say, I'll come back to you. And honestly and truly, some people, they kind of disappear off the face of the earth. And it's like, oh, well, what happened? Where did they go? And you think the call went really well and you gave lots of really good, insightful information, probably too much. If you're having a call with me ever, you know that I give too much. But then what do you do after that call? Do you have a process? I did have a process right at the beginning, but it was all like over the place, here, there and everywhere. And now I go by the 3 rule. So I follow up in 3 hours, 3 days and 3 weeks. Potentially, sometimes, depending on the person and what they were inquiring about, potentially 3 months down the line also, because, a lot of things can change in 3 months. In addition, that's part of the follow-up process. So in addition to that, what do you do if that person decides to work with you? How do you onboard them? What do you do? What comes first? Do you have a process written down? Do you know how it works? Do you know that you send a contract and a questionnaire and an invoice? Do you have potentially something on a project management tool where you tick it all off along the way to ensure that you've done each step? And if you can't work with that person at the moment, do you even have a wait list? Is that something that's on your processes, in your plan? Do you offer something like that? Because, potentially you could be extremely busy right now, possibly overworked. And do you want to work all the hours to have this extra client or extra 5 clients, 10 clients, whatever it is? So a wait list is always a good idea. And not a lot of people think about that. So I know I have a wait list in my plan at the moment, and at the moment, luckily, my wait list is very, very low at the minute, which feels really good, I'll be honest. But the idea of this episode was really to talk about the way you onboard your clients, and to let you know that, as everybody knows, I'm a huge Dubsado fan. So I actually have this process all within my Dubsado system, and I have a workflow based around it. So when someone books a clarity call with me and we have that initial call, if nothing kind of happens on the call and they say, if they say, I'll think about it, I'll let you know, or can you get in touch or something like that, I actually have a process in place where I follow up with people, but it's done automatically because I've created my personal canned emails and I've created my workflows so that these emails are automatically sent to these people. I have got a thing in my workflow where it pauses so I can adjust my emails if needed, and I can really personalize them to that call that we've had. And then the workflow kind of continues from there. And also, in addition, I have statuses on Dubsado. So someone can move from different status and I can see where they're at, what they're kind of doing, where they are in their process of, speaking with me. And I just really feel it's a real beneficial thing to have in your business, to really get down to the nitty gritty and have a process for onboarding your clients. So I hope I've been able to really clarify what onboarding means and what it could look like, whether you have that in a manual process or even if you have it with a management system like Dubsado, because it lifts the pressure and it lifts the amount of time you spend on admin, knowing what your processes are, whether they're done for you automatically or not. Because we can so often just sit there for 10 minutes wondering, oh, what do I do now? this has happened, I haven't taken on a client for a few months, so what do I do? And I know from experience, I was definitely at that point right at the beginning of my business. So if you do need support, don't forget there is a free resource on my website that you can download. It's available for everybody. If you need some extra support and want to hear more about Dubsado, I have a YouTube channel where you can find out more about Dubsado. It just gives you a bit of more information about the different areas of Dubsado and what it can do for you. And for those of you that are interested in Dubsado, I have a DIY course coming out and I'm so excited. You might have heard it on other episodes. And again, there will be a link in the show notes where you can register to hear more about Dubsado Lab, the DIY course. It is specifically aimed at coaches, but any service-based user will benefit from it. You just need to adapt it for your business. But it is aimed at coaches. So I hope this episode was useful for you today. And if you've got any questions, feel free to come and join the free Facebook community. I'm happy to answer your questions. And I hope you enjoy next week's episode, because that will be talking about how you offboard your clients. Thank you so much for listening to the Courageous Goals podcast. I really hope you've enjoyed today's episode and taken something of value for you. If you'd love more advice, coaching, inspiration and support, head on over to join many other courageous women in business in our free community group over on Facebook. We'd love to welcome you. You can also find free useful resources over on the website at leannebrown.com/resources. Right, that's all for this week. I look forward to sharing another episode with you next week.